Back on TYT Sports, we said yesterday after we completed 2 Conor McGregor clips, one on Conor McGregor retiring ? Via his tweet, his cryptic tweet that was sent out. Make sure to check out that clip, and one on Nate Diaz and Jose Aldo ripping Conor McGregor in their own way, also on Twitter. Make sure to check both of those out. But we said we'd be back in about 24 hours. It's been about 24 hours to discuss what happened here and what new information we have. Well, following this hour by hour, there isn't a whole lot, but we did get, I mean, not us specifically, but we have interview with Dana White here, a little bit from Colin Cowherd, a lot of great fighter reactions and some memes and tweets, so stick along for the ride. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'll also get to the comments thread that I threw out there. Francis, first, let's go to Dana White.
Dana!
In terms, this is what he said to ESPN, also said very similarly to Colin Cowherd. Check it out.
You would know better than anybody. What is going on here with Conor McGregor?
Well, what's happened is we pulled Conor McGregor from UFC 200, and we're working on other fights right now. Conor did not want to come to Las Vegas and film the commercial or be a part of any of the marketing that we have. He's in Iceland training, and it's not possible. You know, this has only happened one other time in UFC history. It's when Nick Diaz didn't show up for the press conference with his fight with George St. Pierre, and I pulled Nick Diaz from the fight. You know, and we've had other instances like this where guys didn't want to do the press conference. You have to do the press conference. So Conor put out that tweet. You know, is Conor McGregor retiring? Only he can answer that question. I don't know, but he's not fighting at UFC 200.
Can you give me some clarity on why he decided not to show up to do all this?
He didn't want to. You know, he is in Iceland training, and he felt that leaving right now would hurt his training and getting ready for this fight. But every other fighter on the card is coming, you know, and you know, I've said it many times. Believe me, I get accused of coddling Conor all the time, but at the end of the day, I respect Conor. Conor's a guy who has stepped up and taken fight on short notices and you know, literally saved the show at times. But it doesn't make you exempt for showing up for the press conference and all the pre-promotional stuff that we have to do. We spend a lot of money on this stuff, and you have to do it. It's mandatory.
Look, the buck stops with you. You're the UFC president. What is Conor's future with UFC after news like this?
Well, obviously, we still have, you know, as far as I'm concerned, we still have a good relationship with Conor. You know, I respect Conor as a fighter, and I like him as a person. It's just you can't decide to not show up to these things. You have to do it. I mean, we were in constant communication back and forth between, you know, his manager and myself. And I said, listen, you guys I'm flying out of here today at 2:00. You have till 2:00 we're booking the flight for you. And accept the fight and say that you're going to show up. Nate Diaz is flying into Las Vegas tonight with his team, and we're getting together with Nate and probably going to make another fight for Nate Diaz and add another fight to UFC 200 that we're working on right now.
All right, so that provides about this much clarity to what we already knew. He just kind of played into one of the theories which I felt was going to be the strongest theory, and I posted that on Twitter, and many people argued back, oh, well, you got to take into consideration his training partner and the death that occurred, and that would be a valid reason, but again, knowing Conor McGregor's personality, if that was the reason, I feel like he would come out and have stated it in a much more, I would say, intimate fashion, like, this really affected me, this went on, this is what happened, and I'm taking into consideration my health and the things in the future. I didn't think that's his reasoning. I tweeted out saying it's a lover's tith, and all the fans are going to pay the consequence for it now. All those McGregor fans that want to go and watch in Vegas, they're the ones that are going to have to bite the bullet because Conor McGregor and Dana White could not come to agreement. But it's cloudy now as well. Like I'm going to go back to my point that I always state about when you're involved in a profession that you are given the luxury and the ability to do something that you love for a living. It's fucking hard work to get there, right? We understand this. It's hard work, it's dedication. Conor McGregor is basically faltering from his contractual obligations. He's faltering from what is being decided among the UFC for how many years, that you have to promote your fight, especially someone like him who boasts all the money of the gate, all this, I'm the UFC, I create all this. Well, that comes along with the title that you have to be there to promote your fight, mate. Like, I'm the biggest Conor McGregor fan, I say this, but it's a job. If you are the biggest, you are the best, and you are, well, he's not the best, he has to avenge that, but if you are the biggest fighter in the UFC and you play along with how much money you draw in, then you have to basically follow that. You can't, like, if you are gonna be the man that everyone looks to bring in the gate, then you have to be on show and at hand to promote that fight. That's simple for me. I don't think there's any other excuse other than I feel like it's a letdown for the fans who are there gonna, therefore probably depends whether they get their reimbursement. They don't want to see anyone else fight other than Conor McGregor, whoever else they bring in. It's not going to relieve the I would say, how upset they are about not seeing their fighter fight.
I agree. Colin Cowherd, tweet real quick before I want to get to the 4 points that I have to make after all of the stuff I've recently.
I've got my fingers ready.
They're quick. I knew Conor McGregor wasn't retiring like that, according to Colin Cowherd. Dana White here to explain in 15 minutes. That interview, we'll give you a piece of it right here also.
Do you think he's retiring, Dana?
I do not.
Do you believe he'll fight again for you in the next year?
I do.
Will he retain his belt or be stripped?
Well, that's the thing. The thing is, Conor needs to clear up this whole retirement thing and clear it up fast, because if he's retired, then at UFC 200, Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar are fighting for the vacant title then.
All right, so credit where credit's due. Dana White, not a pushover. Everyone does accuse Dana White of latching on to the Ronda Rouseys. And in the past, the George St. Pierre's and the
Coddling McGregor.
Anderson Silva's and the coddling of McGregor. If he really was coddling McGregor, there would be some backdoor deal going on right now that's saying either A, I'll give you your money, that whatever rumored $10 million price, or B, oh no, you don't have to show up to the press conference, you get to be the exception to the rule. Conor McGregor is not the exception to the rule. Nobody is, according to Dana White, and that's a fair presidential assessment made by Dana White. 2, he called McGregor's bluff. Now, I'm only going to say this carefully because I don't want this to be taken completely out of context, but I think you made the perfect point on Joao Carvalho, and it's a tragic death, and we sincerely hope the best for his family and everything that happened with that. But talk about arrogance with Conor McGregor. If that's the reason why he sent out a cryptic tweet and then hides for now going on at least a full day without anybody, even from his camp, speaking, that's weak. That's not fair. It's not fair to your fans. It's not fair to the brand that you built. He talked about extensively for at least a year and a half. He never runs and hides. I don't run from adversity. You're doing exactly what you said you wouldn't. It's pretty pathetic. Now, a lot of the people in the comment section, some were nice, some were, oh, the bitterness, the sourness. The reason for the bitterness, the reason for being sour is the infuriating element of dangling the media like he is, right? Sending out a cryptic tweet, causing mayhem on your behalf, for what? For what personal gain are you getting out of this? Now, I threw out to the comment section, I wrote a long comment when we got more information, because, again, I love all the comments, especially the ones that were going into detail about what they think could have happened. That's awesome. Manuel Hernandez said, I'm replying just to be on the show. Is that okay? Of course
That's fine.
Go Chivas?
Go Chivas.
Okay. One of the guys said, quote, that's very weak. It's a lose-lose for McGregor. They were quoting me. He said, you guys are still judging this in the usual rules of the entertainment world. What is the best way to build your brand? How could you sell a decision well? How do you protect your legacy? He goes on to say, have you ever considered that McGregor simply doesn't give a shit about the conventional rules of the entertainment game? That's a really great point.
I think he doesn't.
That's a great point.
To take over, blah, blah, blah.
Do you think they will be able to reach a resolution so McGregor will be able to fight at UFC 200? I don't think so at this point. And a couple of, who is anyone to judge McGregor? Why are you guys judging McGregor? It's part of our job to sit here and commentate for you guys on what our thoughts and opinions are. Yeah, it's coming off as judgment because I am judging McGregor.
One thing that one of the commentators, and again, we appreciate those, said he doesn't care about the establishment, doesn't care about UFC. That's okay. They're still going to find a way. Me and Jason had this discussion yesterday. As much as they may not bring in as much of the gate, it's still not. They'll move on. But you know who is going to suffer from that, and who he does care about is his fans. That's it. That's it for me.
But that's where
because I'm a fan.
So that's like everyone. I mean, of course, I also said I'm bandwagon. I know bandwagoners are the worst fans, and I am of course at fault for it for even saying that I'm going to bandwagon to another UFC fighter. But I am. I'm going to do that. I'll take the heat. You can comment how awful of a person I am when it comes to bandwagoning. I'm okay with that.
You're awful. Yeah. You're an awful person.
What if I bandwagon Celtic went into it? No. All right, so
it's a lose-lose.
Lastly, Francis, let's get to the fun stuff.
The fun stuff, the good reaction.
Twitter had a field day.
Oh my God. He went #1 tweet. I mean, NY primary get knocked off the top spot, I think, after maybe an hour.
We're going to roll through the tweets and then Edgar Aldo news as well. Francis, please read this for me. I think this was funny. I hope it's not racist.
Typical bloody Crumlin plumber. I had you booked for a job in July. Nah, love, sorry. I'm on the jollies with your deposit. No, it's not racist.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay,
though.
so this is the same thing his coach.
What's a Crumlin? That's what I didn't know.
It's just a term to describe someone like, well, for a plumber. You know a plumber, of course. Everyone knows what plumbers are. But the funny thing is McGregor used to be a plumber.
And his trainer.
So it used to be. No, his trainer. His trainer was very funny. His trainer's tweet, I don't know if we've got it here, but we'll throw it up here. That was one of the funniest. It was actually a Facebook post. I said, I've got this buddy. No, he was talking about McGregor. He's like, got this buddy of mine. He served 1 year in his apprenticeship for a plumber, looking for work, let me know. So it's like, all right, he's now deferred from his MMA career. He's got some training in the plumbing field. Is anyone get an opening? We can get him in. So that's just similar to that. They're just kind of making fun of the fact that he's a plumber, and it's this misconception that plumber says they're going to show up to do a job, but then they never do, and they leave you leaking.
I got that. That's what I thought was so funny. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't offensive, but I threw it up anyway. All right, next one. Number 2. Conor McGregor is as retired as Jon Snow is dead. Topical tweets only. Hashtag almost 420, bruh.
That's the only reason that thing got way more like retweets than anything else. That is an almost 420. By the way, the best 420 tweet, completely irrelevant yesterday. It was some source that's phenomenal. It says, remember kids, it's 420 Eve. Make sure to leave out milk and cookies for Snoop Dogg tonight.
Number 3. Or actually number 4.
Banging.
Francis.
Conor McGregor. I'm retiring. Dana White. He's not breathing.
The best was still the please stop calling 911. McGregor asking what happened to Conor McGregor. Number 4, which is actually element number 6. Well, shit. Actually, well, fuck it. I've decided to retire old. Thanks for the shoes, Reebok. That's from CM Punk. Another great troll job. Look at the retweets these guys are getting. Yeah. The Office was perfect for this. I have a lot of questions, Francis. Number 1, how dare you? Yeah. And lastly, number 6 is I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
Do you remember that? When he's doing the Anchorman? He goes,
I love Scotch. Scotchy.
He's like, you're live right now. I don't believe it.
So, yeah, that just wraps it up there. It is a story yet to be told further, and we will be sitting by the wayside like he wants us to do.
If he is retired.
Grabbing the crumbs. Come on, drop.
If he is retired, or if not, and he keeps playing this game, Edgar Aldo will be fighting for his belt.
Will that annoy him? Probably not.
I wonder what Frankie Edgar thinks about this whole thing, and he's sitting there
like, he's like,
oh,
finally I get this belt shot, but it's not from the fight that I wanted to get in the first place. So as always, set the comment section alight. We give you our full permission, even though you don't need it most of the time. Whoever's first is first. Say it first.
I'm going to be first.
No, you're not. You have the power to be first.
I could be first.
You're a cheater. Cheater, compulsive eater.